For generations, Chinese Christians have talked about an assignment given by God to take the gospel back to Jerusalem, a missional role to proclaim the gospel through the rest of Asia along the ancient Silk routes of the Indian subcontinent and Middle East, through lands that have for generations been strongholds of Buddhism, Hinduism, and Islam, before culminating in Israel with a call to the Jewish nation to embrace their Messiah. The tumultuous and bloody events of the 20th century almost saw the vision die. The expulsion of foreign missionaries, the imprisonment of pastors and evangelists, and the burning of Bibles and Christian literature meant that by the end of the Cultural Revolution, the church was almost extinct, with 70 million people dying. During the 1970s, the wife of Chairman Mao famously said, "Christianity has been confined to the history section of the museum. It is dead and buried." Another key governmental leader said that not a single church was functioning in China and that he would not be surprised if Christianity had died completely. Reports of the death of the church were, however, greatly exaggerated, and from a small remnant of believers, there has emerged the largest and perhaps strongest Christian church on earth, a church that many today estimate is over 100 million believers strong. To begin with, the church began to grow in the rural areas. More recently, there's been unprecedented growth in the urban areas of China. We've also seen the growth of different expressions of church in the urban areas. The church, the Back to Jerusalem vision, has been reborn. China has been a closed nation for a long time. Very few missionaries have been sent. But in 2009, a Call to All Congress in Hong Kong saw thousands of Christian leaders from all around the world and from the mainland of China participating in an event to refocus the body of Christ on this Back to Jerusalem movement and their role in missions. The Chinese re-embraced the call, and as a sign they marched across a large floor map of the earth with the Silk Road nations in the middle. As they marched, they held up lights, symbolizing bringing the light of the gospel to all the nations. They held up their Bibles. The Back to Jerusalem call was being reignited among the Chinese leaders as they prayed, danced, and wept on the map. Call to All is not alone in recognizing what's going on in the Chinese church. Over the last few years, the homecoming movement, led by a group of Christians from Hong Kong and Taiwan, has been growing. In early 2013, 25,000 Christians gathered in that same Hong Kong Expo Center as the Call to All Congress. They worshiped and interceded for more than 4 days. The time has come for the Chinese church to embrace their mission. As YWAM, we have a unique opportunity to work alongside the Chinese church. We have been asked by many of the key networks, covering tens of millions of believers all across China, to help train them, 1,500 by 2020, an additional 10,000 by 2025, 23,000 more by 2030, almost 300,000 more over that next decade, with even more being released by 2055, resulting in a total of 1 million new missionaries over 40 years. Half of the geopolitical zones of the world, about 2,000, are in this area from China to Israel. This is the part of the world they're targeting on their way back to Jerusalem. Their goal is to train and send missionaries into every one of these zones. To accomplish a task of this size, it's going to require the help of many Christian organizations. Several have already indicated they are willing to do whatever is necessary to help the Chinese. Business people have also stepped forward, alongside educators wanting to help. Our University of the Nations program in YWAM could be extremely important for what is about to happen with the Chinese. We're the only organization that is positioned all across the region we're talking about with training locations. We could train Chinese in the skill sets, helping them learn the cultures and the languages in all of these regions, all through the 1040 window. Both in and out of China, new training courses, curriculums, and long-distance learning opportunities need to be developed to facilitate this expanding missions movement. All of us as YWAMers from all around the world should ask the question, what is our role in working with the Chinese church? We have a rich history of blending the nations together for greater impact. The question for us is, Will we say yes to this tremendous opportunity? Will we rise up in faith and do our part to come alongside the Chinese church? The largest missions movement in history is in front of us. It seems that God has prepared us for this very moment.